Hey, how are you again? Um, just want to talk a little bit about why people like Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani are popular right now and Trump is not. Um, the bottom line is Sanders and now Mamdani, obviously he's kind of new, but he's showing that if you do what you say, you're going to get popular. Especially if most of what your platform is about is helping people. The reason Trump got in was because Trump talked a good game. He said he was going to do a lot for this country. He said something interesting, Trump. He said when he was running that basically the demographics were against him, against Republicans in general. And he was right. But like he was a different kind. Again, I'm conservative. For most of my positions, I'm conservative on, but I've definitely had a change on certain things, definitely economically. Um, but Trump talked this game, and it said, he says one thing on the campaign trail, and then when he's in office, he does something totally different. So he's full of it. In this term, he's really full of it. His first term was decent. Okay, nothing great but decent. This term is a horror show. Now he's a warmonger. He ran on not being a warmonger. He was supposed to help this country on all these different things. $2 gasoline. Now it's what four something, and that's only because they're depleting reserves. Um, you're talking all this stuff, cutting too many programs that people that need it, but yet giving tons of tax cuts to the rich, like 1.5 trillion tax cuts mostly to the rich, like obscene things that shouldn't be. Why is a guy like Bernie Sanders popular? Because he's overwhelmingly looking to support most of the country. That will never be rich. His positive ratings are like he has something like 70 something percent approval. Compared to like 70 something to like 20 something. I forgot. It was like a plus 46% he has, something like that. Mamdani's got like a plus 20 for all the heat he's taken. And again, I don't agree with everything he says either, but they're for the most part on the side of the people. And Trump right now isn't. He's in this dumb war he can't get out of. Again, he was the anti-war guy. Now he's the war guy. He ran on letting out the Epstein files. He's in the Epstein files, obviously. That's why he's not letting it out. He gets rid of a guy like they forced out Thomas Massie, who was a Republican in favor of the files coming out. He was against the war in Iran. And he gets primaried out by these super billionaires who don't want any of it out. And they want war to keep going on in the Middle East. So this is why he's not popular, Trump, and it's spelling a lot of trouble. For November, if this keeps going, it's going to be bad for Republicans. If anybody denies that's lying. But I just find it interesting the reason that these guys, the Bernie Sanders and the Mamdanis and AOC to a degree as well, are popular because they speak to the problems of most people. Most people don't want tax cuts for the super rich. It's absurd. And then they don't pay enough. Who are we kidding? And now you got Elon Musk looking to get $1 trillion, and then he said he wants to shoot for 10 trillion, but now he's pushing on 1 trillion now. And he owns like more wealth, or as much wealth as like half the country. It's all so not normal. So I find it a problem for someone who was basically conservative myself, a Christian, and I started when you really read the gospel, Christ did not promote the rich. He didn't. And a lot of these churches, or I shouldn't say a lot, some of these churches for sure promote being wealthy. They just do this game, and Christ didn't teach that. He just didn't. And I don't agree with Sanders and Mamdani on abortion and all that. Democrat, I'd love to see a pro-life Democrat come around again. They used to exist, but not anymore, at least that I know of. But man, there's reasons why Sanders and Mamdani are doing well and Trump isn't, because overwhelmingly they're showing that they're for the people, that they're for the common people. And until Trump, which I don't think he will, until he gets his butt together with actually being for the people, he's gonna cause Republicans to have a massive wipeout in November. It's just obvious. But I just wanted to check in and have a great one. God bless. Amen.